Hello everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Champions video. A couple days ago, Fantasy Flight released a pretty large article covering the upcoming Hood scenario pack. So I think next month in August we get the Thanos pack, and then I think this is an upcoming scenario pack after that. We haven't had a scenario pack for quite a while, or just a single scenario I should say. We had Kang a while ago, and then we had a couple campaign boxes. And then we're getting this scenario pack sometime soon. So it features the Hood. I'm not really familiar with the Hood as a character. I don't think I've really read a lot of comics with him, or I'm not very familiar with him. But anyway, this is the Stage 1 card for him. We don't know what the Stage 2 or Stage 3 is going to look like yet. But on Stage 1, he has one scheme, one attack. He's a criminal. Comes in with, it looks like 14 health per player. And has this foul play special, which is discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card does not belong to the Hood encounter set, deal it to yourself as a face-down encounter card. So when this special activates, you're going to discard the top card of the encounter deck. And if it's not from his own set, so it looks like there's 16 cards in his set. Some of those include the character cards. So those there's probably going to be actually less cards in the deck for that are specific to him or his thing. So if it's comes from a different set, it gets dealt as a face down encounter card. So that is the Stage 1 version of the Hood. We're going to look at our next card. And next up, we have the 1A side for making connections. This looks like the main scheme. The constants are Hood 1, Hood 2, or Hood 2 and 3 instead for doing expert mode. The Hood and the standard encounter sets. And the setup is choose 7 modular encounter sets, set them aside, you may choose randomly, choose one of those sets at random, then shuffle it into the encounter deck. So it looks like the Hood is going to have, cards from that set, and then you're going to have 7 modular encounter sets that are set aside, and then one of them at random is going to get shuffled into the encounter deck. That's where his ability comes from, where discard a top card, if it's not part of his set, it gets dealt as a face-down encounter card. This seems pretty interesting because I know there's definitely a lot of modular encounter sets that I don't use pretty much at all. So this this makes some of the modular sets that you may not use very often more likely to be used. So this is, again, the 1A side of his main scheme. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Established Dominance. This is an attachment. It attaches to your identity. And as a forced response, after the Hood activates against you, resolve his foul play ability, which in the case of that one was the special where you discard a top card and then it gets dealt as an encounter if it's not part of his set. And then as an alter ego action, exhaust your identity, place 2 threat on the main scheme to discard this card. So you can basically, if you're on your alter ego side, you can basically take additional threat on the main scheme to get rid of it and get the exhaust. And then if basically it's a forced response to if when the Hood activates against you, you use the foul play ability. So there is a way to get rid of it. It also has 2 boost icons on it when it's part of like an activation for scheming or attacking. So and that looks like part of the Hood's encounter. So if this got flipped over as part of his foul play, I think it would just get discarded. It wouldn't come into play because it is part of his set and not another set that isn't his. So that is Established Dominance. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Madame Mask. She's a minion. Has 3 boost icons, which she activates as part of like a scheme or an attack. 1 scheme to attack with 4 hit points. She's criminal and also Masters of Evil. Has guard, and when revealed, resolve the Hood's foul play ability. And then when defeated, the defending player must resolve the foul play ability. So basically, when she comes in, the foul play ability goes off, and when she gets defeated, the ability then goes off against whoever the character whatever player defeated her. It goes off against that as well. So pretty strong. So 4 health. The scheme isn't great, but 2 attack is pretty good, and then also are good for a minion, I should say. Has guards, so you have to deal with her before you deal with anything else, and then basically resolves the Hood's foul play ability. Looks like twice, depending on if she comes into play and then also gets defeated. So that is Madame Mask. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Promised Prosperity. This is the 2A side of, looks like his other main scheme. Let's see here. So when revealed, choose one set-aside modular encounter set at random, shuffle it into the encounter deck, place one acceleration token on the main scheme. So it adds in another modular encounter, also gets an acceleration, so when the main scheme, basically beginning of the villain phase, you're going to add additional threat to the scheme equal to the number of players, and then also more for acceleration tokens. So this could get out of hand pretty quickly, depending on how many acceleration tokens are already out and how many acceleration tokens are on this particular plot. So that is the 2A side of Promised Prosperity. We're going to move into our next card. All right, and next up we have Field Recruitment. It's a treachery. Comes in with a star icon as well as a boost icon. And when revealed, choose one set-aside modular encounter set at random, shuffle it into the encounter deck, resolve the hood's foul play ability, and then remove the card from the game. And also, if it comes in as part of an activation as a boost, after the activation ends, resolve the hood's foul play ability. So if it comes in normally, you're adding another modular encounter set to the deck. You're then also resolving the foul play ability, which means the more and more modular encounter sets you shuffle into the deck, the more likely you are with the foul play ability to reveal a card that isn't part of the hood's own deck, and then the more likely that card's going to get dealt as a face-down encounter. And again, if this card comes in as a boost, you're also going to be activating the foul play ability off of that as well. The second option is, I think, a little bit better because you're not adding another encounter set, but you still are resolving the foul play ability, though. So that is Field Recruitment. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have the Hood's Pistol. It's an attachment. Gives him +1 scheme, also +1 attack. The weapon attaches to the hood. And it's a hero action. You can spend a mental resource and a physical resource to discard the card. And the star icon on it reveals the card, basically making it come into play. So +1 scheme, +1 attack. That's pretty decent for the villain. And then you can spend 2 resources, mental and physical, to get rid of it. Doesn't do anything with the foul play ability, but it also is giving him a +1 to each of his scheme and attack. So you probably want to get rid of it unless you're pretty much guaranteed to win the game and do enough damage without having to pay those extra resources to remove the card. But basically, also if it gets revealed as a boost, it comes in, and then if it comes in normally, it attaches. Basically revealed, same thing. So that is the Hood's Pistol. It's a pretty simple card, but it could be pretty devastating depending on what his scheme and what his attack are at any time in the game. Like I said, we've only seen his stage 1, so we don't know what his attack and scheme are going to look like in stage 2 or stage 3. So stage 1, it's just 1 and 1, but in stage 2, it could be 2 and 2, it could be 2 and 1, it could be whatever, and then this coming out will make that even stronger. So that is the Hood's Pistol. We're going to move. And next up, we have the Hood's Mantle. It's an attachment. It's armor. Attached to the hood. The hood gains Retaliate 1 and Steady. Steady characters require 2 status cards of the same type to be stunned or confused. And as a hero action, you can spend an energy resource, a mental resource, and a physical resource to discard the card. So Steady seems pretty devastating. So I think there's going to probably have to be a rules clarification on how this actually works. So basically, it looks like to get stunned or confused, you basically have to stun them or confuse them twice. So in my Captain America deck, let's say I do a stun attack, he gets a stun token. I do another stun attack, he gets another stun token, and with Steady, he's then now stunned if he has 2. Same with confusion. But I wonder then if he only has 1, but let's say at the end of my turn, let's say I do a Captain America heroic strike, use a physical resource to stun the hood with this on. When he goes to attack, does he lose the stun token right away? I know. So basically, he's going to need to have 2 stun tokens to not attack. But if he has 1, does he discard it, or does it stick around until he gets another 1, and then he actually becomes stunned? So I think there's going to have to be a rules clarification on how that's going to work. But if you're playing decks that confuse or stun your opponent, like I definitely have a Captain America Stunlock deck, that will definitely slow that deck down considerably, considering with this attachment you then have to have 2 stun cards on it or 2 confused cards on it to do those effects. So that is the Hood's Mantle. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Upper Hand. It's another treachery. Comes in with one boost icon, and when revealed as an alter ego, the Hood schemes and resolve the foul play ability. And when revealed as the hero, the Hood attacks and then resolve the foul play ability. So again, the more and more encounter sets that you add to the deck that aren't part of the Hoods, the more likely the foul play ability will go off, making it more likely that you'll get dealt those encounter cards. So that is Upper Hand. Pretty simple. If you're in hero form, he attacks. If you're in alter ego form, he'll scheme. Each one triggers the foul play ability. So again, that's Upper Hand. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Calvin Zabo. He's a minion. Looks like it's part of the Mr. Hyde encounter set, so I think that's going to be another modular set you're adding in. Looks like it's only 4 cards. This is card 2 of 4. Comes in with 3 scheme and 1 attack. He's got 4 health. He's elite and also Masters of Evil. And when revealed, if Mr. Hyde is in play, discard this card. Mr. Hyde attacks you with +2 attack. This attack gains Overkill. And when defeated, search the deck and discard pile for Mr. Hyde and put him into play engaged with a player who was engaged with Calvin Zabo. So basically, it's again Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. This is the essentially, I think it's like the Dr. Jekyll version, the Dr. Jekyll card, and then the other one is a Mr. Hyde. So this is going to be the one that is probably smarter, has a higher scheme, and low attack with 4 health. And I do like when it comes into play, if the other character is already in play, you switch them out. So it says, if Mr. Hyde's in play, discard the card, and then Mr. Hyde comes out, and so on. So that is Calvin Zabo. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Self-Experimentation. It's a side scheme. Looks like part of the Mr. Hyde set. So card 1 comes in with 5 threat per player. If it comes out as a boost for an activation, it comes in with 2 boost symbols. And when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Mr. Hyde. Reveal him and then shuffle. And as a forced interrupt, when a brute enemy would take any amount of damage, remove that much threat from this scheme instead. So it looks like the brutes stay out, from what I can tell. So it says when a brute enemy would take any amount of damage, you remove that much damage from the side scheme. So if, let's say it comes in, single player game comes in with 5. Let's say you do 2 damage to a brute minion. Is it a brute minion or a brute enemy, I guess? A brute enemy takes 2, then I remove 2 threat from the scheme. So basically, looks like the brutes, this kind of protects them a little bit because it looks like you're not actually damaging them. You're doing the damage on the scheme instead, and then I guess once the scheme is defeated, you can then just defeat the enemies normally, probably. I'm not really sure yet, but that is the Self-Experimentation side scheme. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Mr. Hyde. It's a minion. So 1 scheme, 3 attack, while Calvin Zabo had the reverse. He had the 3 scheme with 1 attack. Comes in with 10 hit points. Looks like if he comes in as part of an activation for a boost, it comes in with 3 boost symbols, which is pretty big. He's a brute. He's elite. He's also Masters of Evil. And when revealed, if Calvin Zabo is engaged with a player, discard Calvin Zabo. Mr. Hyde engages that player. Give Mr. Hyde a tough status card and deal 1 damage to each hero and ally in play. So, huge amount of health. So 10 health. Comes in with a tough status, and then also pings everything for 1. So deal 1 damage to each hero and each ally in play. This is definitely going to be a minion you probably don't want to be dealing with. But I like that it's basically the inverse of the other card. So the other one, again, was 3 scheme, 1 attack. This is 1 scheme, 3 attack, 10 health. Like everything about this card is bad for players, I think. In a good way, in a probably like a fun game way. Like comes in with, so if he comes in as a boost, he's going to add 3. Comes in as a minion, he comes in, and then I think if Calvin Zabo isn't in play, it just comes out normally. But if Calvin Zabo is in play, it looks like it engages that player and then also does a bunch of damage. So he's going to be very interesting to see like what the best strategies are to kind of like get rid of him or how to deal with him. But that is Mr. Hyde. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Boomerang. It's another minion. Comes in with a star symbol and a boost symbol if you use him as part of an activation. 2 scheme, 1 attack with an asterisk. 5 health. Criminal and Masters of Evil. And as a force response, after Boomerang attacks you, deal 1 damage to each ally you control. Let's see, is that what the... Yeah, so after the 1 attack with the asterisk is the force response. So after he attacks, you do additional damage. And then if it comes in as a boost, deal 2 damage to an ally you control. So if it comes out as a boost, the star uses a star. The star then basically pings 2 damage to an ally. I guess it looks like you get to choose the ally. So that is Boomerang. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Shocker, another minion. We haven't had. This is the new edition of Shocker. I believe Shocker is part of either of the standard set. It might be the Rhino set. But this version of Shocker, 1 scheme to attack with 5 health. Has a single star icon on him. He's criminal and also Masters of Evil. Has a force response. After Shocker is attacked, stun the attacking character. That feels very thematic. So basically, they come in, they attack him. He kind of stuns him with the shock gauntlets or whatever he's got on. And as a boost, stun the character you control with the highest attack value. So 5 health for Shocker is pretty high. I think the original one is like 2, maybe 3. So it looks like they're definitely making minions stronger now, maybe to kind of balance the game out a little bit, with a lot of very strong decks kind of floating around at the moment. But new version of Shocker, so that is going to do it for him. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have another minion, Crossfire. So 2 scheme, 2 attack with an asterisk, 4 health, 3 boost icons. He's part of Crossfire's crew as well as Masters of Evil. Has Quick Strike, so I think Quick Strike was it engages right away, I think is what that does. And as a force interrupt, when Crossfire attacks, he attacks the friendly character with the fewest remaining hit points. The attack gains overkill and range, so range meaning it gets around retaliate, and then also it basically becomes trample. So comes in against basically the weakest character with the fewest remaining hit points. So basically he comes in and then engage or attacks that character. So he's basically trying to take out anybody that take out the weak links basically. So again, 2 scheme, 2 attack, 4 health, and 3 boost icons. So that is Crossfire. We're going to move into our next card. And next up we have Flamethrower. It's an attachment. Gives the character +3 attack. Comes in with 2 boost icons. It's tech and also a weapon. And attached to the minion with the most remaining hit points. If you cannot, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a minion, put it into play engaged with you, and attach this card to it, then shuffle. And the attacked minion's attacks deal indirect damage. So basically, when the minion attacks, the player that is being attacked, or whoever's taking the attack, gets to choose kind of how the damage is distributed. So indirect damage is kind of, I think, good in this game. It's probably better than direct damage on your character. So if you're down to 1 hit point, and you can spread that damage out to allies instead, and maybe live to fight another day, that will be beneficial. But it does give the character also +3 attack. So even if it's indirect, where you get to choose where it goes, it looks like it's still going to be dealing quite a lot of damage, and it's also attaching to the minion with the most hit points. It's good that this attaches only to a minion and not the actual villain, because it is attached to the minion with the most remaining hit points if you cannot search the deck for a minion. So I guess if you don't have any minions out and you search for it, you basically want to put it on a find maybe a weak minion, because you get to search for the minion, maybe put it on a minion that has maybe 1 or 2 health, and then let's see how it works. Attach to the minion with the highest remaining health, search the encounter deck, put it in play engage with you, and attach the card to it. So I guess it comes out engaged, but I don't know if it gets an attack right away. So then if that's on the end of the villain phase, you then have hopefully maybe 1 turn to respond to it before it actually attacks and does a ton of just indirect damage. But that is Flamethrower. We're going to move into our next card. And next up we have Citywide Crisis. It's a treachery. When revealed, resolve each when revealed ability on each side scheme in play. If no when revealed ability was resolved this way, place 2 threat on each scheme. And as a boost, resolve this card's when revealed ability. So when it boosts, you basically do the when revealed thing anyway. So depending on how many schemes you have out, this could be pretty devastating. So basically, when it comes out, it's going to trigger the when revealed effect on each side scheme you play. Luckily, not the main scheme. I don't know if the main scheme has any when revealed effects. Some of them might. But on each of the side schemes in play, so basically, if you have a bunch of side schemes, it's going to come out, and they're all going to trigger if they all have when revealed effects. Even when it comes out as part of a boost, it's going to do basically it just resolves itself anyway, because it looks like resolve this card's when revealed ability, and the ability is resolve when revealed ability on each side scheme. So Citywide Crisis, definitely a card you probably don't want to see, especially if there's a lot of side schemes in play. So that is Citywide Crisis. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have the Secret Lair Environment. It's a location and the setting. It has Surge, so you basically play another card after it. When revealed, discard each other setting environment in play. And then each enemy in play gains 1 acceleration icon. Each hero and ally in play gets +1 thwart. So this can be pretty brutal, because each enemy is going to be getting an acceleration icon, meaning they're just going to be adding a ton of threat to the schemes, depending on how many enemies are out, meaning you would then have to kind of focus, like definitely focus down and get rid of all the enemies that have acceleration icons, and hopefully stop any more that come in with accelerations as well. So if this gets out of, like if you have like a bunch of enemies in play, they're all getting these acceleration icons, meaning that you may thread out very quickly. So this is going to be an environment that you want to, I don't know how you get rid of environments, but if you have ways to basically like just defeat all the enemies, like if there's no enemy, or maybe like you're going to have at least the villain, so the villain I think is considered an enemy, so there'll be 1 extra acceleration icon, but as long as you can keep the board clear of minions, you may be able to keep this under control, but I can definitely see it getting out of control very quickly. So that is the Secret Lair. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Formidable Foe. It's another environment. It's standard mode only, permanent setup. The villain gains steady, so steady characters require 2 status cards of the same type to be stunned or confused. It looks like this is part of standard. It's kind of blurry. It looks like standard 2, so I don't know if both standard 1 and standard 2 get shuffled in, or if this is like a replacement to the current standard deck that we've been using since the game came out. But so it's standard mode only, so not used in expert mode. It just gets a permanent setup, so it's always out. And then it looks like the villain gains steady, and again, steady being pretty devastating because you have to stun twice or confuse twice to have them get stunned or confused once. So at least that's the way it sounds so far. Again, there probably is going to be a rules clarification as this gets closer to being released on how steady actually works. But that's the way it sounds to me. It's like you need 2 status tokens of the same type to use it. And then once I think they actually get stunned, I would imagine they discard both. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But that is Formidable Foe. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Dark Dealings. It's another treachery. And when revealed, the villain schemes with a +1 to scheme. And if this comes out as part of a boost, give the villain 1 additional boost card for this activation. So basically, it comes out as a boost. It comes in with the star, which gives it another boost card, 1 boost symbol here, and then another card entirely. So and then if it just comes out as like an encounter or something else, villain gets a scheme with a +1 to their scheme. So that is Dark Dealings. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Total Annihilation. It's another treachery. Has Surge. When revealed as a hero, the villain attacks you. That attack gains Overkill. And if it comes in as a boost, if the villain is attacking you, the attack gains Overkill. So basically, the villain attacks, and the attack gets Overkill, and if they're attacking you, basically, if you're already being attacked, the attack gets Overkill anyway. So that, it looks like it's part of Standard 2 as well. That's it for our single cards. We have a couple card fans we're going to take a look at, because there are some cards that were partially revealed that we're going to take a look at in just a moment. We'll be right back with those. All right, and here is the card fan we're taking a look at. So Secret Lair we've seen. Slug It Out looks like it's a treachery. Looks like it's one revealed or boost. Can't really tell exactly what it does. Looks like there is the Unbreakable Thread. Can't really tell what that does either. But then the ones that we can see are Griffin and part of Cruel Intention. So Cruel Intention is a treachery. Looks like Peril and Surge. Deal each player a face-down encounter card, and then give the thing, looks like it gives the villain a face-down boost card maybe. And then there's Griffin. It's a 1 out or minion with 1 attack or 1 scheme, 3 attack with 7 health. Looks like 2 boost icons. So quick strike, so basically I think it means it attacks when it comes into play. And after Griffin attacks and damages a character, stun the character. And when defeated, if there is a stun-friendly character in play, shuffle Griffin into the encounter deck. So normally, if there's not a stun villain or a stun minion or character, Griffin just gets discarded. But if there is a stun character, Griffin gets put back into the encounter deck and shuffled back in with the potential that it might show back up again later. So some of these cards are still kind of covered, so I can't really tell. But there's Unbreakable Thread, Cruel Intentions, and Griffin, Slug It Out, and Secret Lair we already saw earlier in the video. We're going to take a look at one more card fan, and that's going to be our last card for this video. We'll be right back with that. And last cards we're going to look at here are the new versions of the Wrecking Crew. I believe these are just going to be, these are all minions. So we have another version of Bulldozer, Wrecker, Pile Driver, and Thunderball. Thunderball looks like he is a Brute and Elite, 3 scheme. 1 attack, 7 health, has Villainous. They activate, they get boost cards. And as a force response, after Thunderball attacks you, deal 1 damage to each character you control. And then it comes in with 3 boost icons. Pile Driver, looks like 2 scheme, 2 attack. Looks like Elite, or Brute and Elite as well. Retaliate 1 and Villainous. So Retaliate, basically when you attack him, he does damage to whoever's attacking it. It's like 1 damage to whoever's attacking. And then Villainous, so they get, what's it called, boost cards. We have Wrecker, so 2 scheme, 2 attack, Brute and Elite, Villainous as well. And while Wrecker is attacking, looks like he gets a +2 to the attack if the attack is, I can't really tell what that says, but it looks like he gets +2 to attack possibly. And then there's Bulldozer, which is 1 scheme, 3 attack. Looks like Brute and Elite as well, also has Villainous. And it looks like Bulldozer's attack gain, I'm going to say probably overkill, I'm not really sure. But so he has 3 attack, and I'm thinking that's saying they probably gained overkill just based on kind of like how that character is in like the comics and stuff like that. So new versions of the Wrecking Crew, as they were villains in the Wrecking Crew scenario pack, and now we have versions of the Wrecking Crew as minions as well. So these are all, I believe, coming out with the Hood scenario pack. A lot more. Some new modules to add it to your deck, new stuff for the Hood. Also, I'm liking what they're doing with the not side schemes, the encounter sets, modular encounter sets. You basically just shuffle those into the Hood encounter deck to add more kind of chaos to the mix, basically. I do like that it gives you an opportunity to use modular encounter sets maybe that you haven't used yet, or just ones that you might not really want to play against. But I think it can be pretty challenging because you're choosing basically 7 modular encounter sets to potentially shuffle into the Hood's deck. There's going to be cards that will shuffle entire modules into the set. The modules are usually like a handful of cards. But then, again, each modular encounter that you add to the deck means his foul play ability is going to get, or be more and more likely to get triggered, and you discard a card that's not part of the set, and you get it as a face-down encounter card. So again, I'm not very familiar with the Hood as a character, but the set definitely looks interesting. I'll be picking it up whenever it gets released. And again, as always, we'll be back with more videos as more and more cards get revealed and released. We'll do like unboxings and let you know what I think of certain decks. I know we have the Thanos expansion coming out sometime in August, so I'll definitely be picking that up. Again, still haven't beat the Galaxy's Most Wanted, so I definitely think I'm probably not going to be super well equipped to handle Thanos, but we're going to see. We're definitely going to pick it up anyway. We got 2 new heroes with that set. So we have Adam Warlock, and I think Spectrum was the other character, but other hero character you can play as. And then we have, like decks for Thanos, Ebony Maw, Proxima Midnight, Corvus Glaive. So I'll be picking that up whenever it gets released. But until then, I want to thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And take care. Have a good one.